hear me? Thank you so much, folks. Please take your seat. So I've seen, that in last so many years of building the business, one question that commonly comes to all of us, and it's there in the back of our mind, that many people ask, is it a chain business? Is it legal? It's a scam? Or, what is it really? And there's some cases I've seen about this. All of us have some kind of, references to something like this every now and then, right? Isn't it true? Right? And it should not be different shades of gray for you. It should be black and white in your mind so that you understand really what this industry is and where it is coming from, right? So once you see the truth, once you're clear about it, at the most what will happen is you cannot make somebody else understand, but you're not confused about it, right? So you should get there first, right? So there is a author by the name Alvin Toffler. It's an American writer. Have you heard of this author, Alvin Toffler? There's a lot of books he's written called Future Shock, Third Wave. Anybody read these books? Third Wave, Future Shock, Power Shift. A lot of good books he's written. And these books are like, they're all like futurist write-ups on what is going to happen in the world in the future. He used to predict. And he predicted satellites way before it happened. He talked about digital revolution, he talked about communication revolution, and he also used to talk about what impact it will have on people's lives, in cultures of people, in people's marriages. And he talked about recording, a lot of your recording videos, and all these things are like, he talked about it before even it was existent, before the mobile phone was even there, okay? So he has been so accurate in his predictions, and in 1980s, he prosumerism, right? And he said, there'll come a time where people will work out of voluntary involvement and they will not expect anything in return, right? When in 80s. And what happened in 1991? There was a student in Finland. He used to write, he was tired of Microsoft's operating system. Okay, so he starts writing his own operating system, and it's a personal project. It's out of hobby, he builds it. And he does something amazing. He puts it on the internet and he says, whoever wants can make it better. And thousands of programmers across the globe started tweaking it a little bit, started improvising it. Eventually it became what Linux is today, right? So when this happened, if you see, Linux was far better and much more robust operating system than many things in the market. And big companies could use it free. And if you see, Microsoft was trembling in their feet because they were losing so much market. So something which was created free was replacing something which cost money. So the ones who lost money, right, the ones who could gain money, from where it came. And for example, the entire Chinese government, what they did is they replaced their whole operating system with Linux. And they didn't pay anything, right? That's what is called unpaid economy. Right? And he talked about it so long back, and today if you see, this unpaid economy has been said that, to give you a small example, let's say you don't have a maid at home because you just quit, you just walk across the road, go to the opposite house, and talk to the maid in that house, and do you know anybody, right? And who can work in my house? And she refers someone, right? And you recruit that maid, whoever she refers. Do you pay any money to her? Most of the times, no. So when you take a personal favor like this, most of the times, we don't pay. But if it happened to be a HR recruiting firm, okay, they would give you a bill with GST, right? So that's called unpaid economy. And if I'm using an unpaid economy for my personal reasons, that's fine. But if I'm using for commercial reasons and making money out of it, it's not fair really. But today he predicted way back that companies will come out with strategies where they'll create marketing strategies to tap into the voluntary effort of people. Just think about social media. What is it all about? It's complete prosumerism, right? A lot of people take that. For example, take Facebook. How many people logged into Facebook at least once in the last 1 week? Almost everybody in this room, right? So we see, at least now the internet is a little cheap, but just 4-5 years back, I used to pay 5,000 rupees phone bill. Internet was very expensive. So people used to put their money, put their time, spend hours connecting people, and how much Facebook gave them? Nothing, right? But they were creating contents on that website, they were creating subscription base, they were creating a huge traffic onto the website, And Facebook was able to make billions of dollars out of it. Yes or no? So they were converting the unpaid economy of thousands and millions of users into their personal economy. Isn't that true? Right? So take example of Uber, right? So Uber, some companies said, okay, I'll give you one free ride. Yes or no? How many of you got free ride or 100 rupees off and you're fired up about it, right? So just imagine, do you know what's happening in that depth leg of Uber? Do you know? Do you know what happens? You send an invite to someone. Does Uber, are they transparent enough to expose what happened because of, they only show you only till that one deep. If you really go further, do you know how many people got referred and how deep is that leg of yours? And do you know how much turnover happens every month because of what you did? If you really come to know, if they send you a turnover, like shows in the virtual office, what's your turnover, every month, you will be very angry with them. You will not be happy about that free ride. You're getting what I'm saying? So it's another example of how people are, see, something is free, Uber Eats gives you 50% off, and most of us are fired up ordering left, right, and center, connecting people and everything, and we have no idea how much work we have done for these people, right? So that is what basically network marketing is doing, and they are converting their unpaid economy into a paid economy and transferring that wealth to us. So tell me what is illegal about it or unethical about it. You know what I'm saying? Every other company is doing it, and they're putting the money in their pocket and going, right? But here, someone is basically tracking who's creating how much, and they're able to actually come to the extent of knowing what turnover each of them create, even to the deepest levels, 1,000 deep also, they're able to track how many platinums are in your team, and they're showcasing it transparently on the website, and they're calculating the turnover, and they say this much money you deserve to make, and they're not only paying you money, they're letting you own that network and create wealth, even if you're not there, as long as the turnover happens. Isn't it very, very fair thing to do? So once you understand this deeply, right? Once you understand this deeply, you will have no questions in your mind, first of all, to understand that we are not misusing voluntary people's effort, and we are actually paying them back, and that's what gets you and I excited about the business, okay? So, if you see, all of us, when you buy a car, we think twice, right? Because it costs money, right? If it is 7 lakhs or 10 lakhs, don't you all think? We all think, right? But when you put petrol to the car, do we think? Why? Because it's just few hundred rupees. But just think about it. Every time I used to drive to my office, I used to spend close to 7,000-8,000 rupees a month on petrol, right? I'm not taking into account the insurance, the service. Sometimes somebody touched my car and I had to go to take it to the body shop. It's not that I'm talking about the tire change, puncture, nothing. I'm just talking about just petrol. So just imagine if you spend 8,000 to 9,000 rupees, inclusive of everything in your car. In a year, how much do you spend? 1 lakh? So in 10 years, how much you spent on your car? 10 lakhs, which is sometimes more than the cost of your car, right? But the car price is pretty obvious. But is that expense of maintaining and running the car, is it obvious to you? Not really, right? That's exactly what happens. You see, if all of us, if I walk into anybody's house, whichever house I walked into in my life, what I saw was at least chances are they'll have one car or bike, right? And something has to be used to clean that car, yes or no? Right? And then you walk into their house, there's a living room, you'll see curtains, and curtains are not automatically clean. Somebody has to clean it, something has to be used for it. There's a floor, somebody has to clean the floor every day, otherwise it gets dirty. Right? You walk into the restroom, you will see some paste, couple of brushes, you will see, shampoo, husband will use one, wife will use one, right? And you will see hair packs, you will see conditioners, a lot more things nowadays, right? And you just have a look at the washing machine inside the restroom, you will see a couple of things on the top. You will see a detergent, you will see whitener, you will see, a softener. At least you will see a blue color soap, for sure, right? I mean, you will see all these things. And then when you walk into the kitchen, you will see some cookwares, you will see water purifier, you will see some Horlicks, Bonvita, Pediasure, something, Chyawanprash. I mean, something has to be used to clean all these vessels and cookware. There's an exhaust fan that has oily you cannot use the normal soap to clean it. So someone is spending money on a monthly basis on all these things. You go and just see on the top of the refrigerator, what is there normally? Next to that, what is that? Stabilizer. Typically, you will see a 7C's bottle, a cod liver oil, or you will see Dexter Orange tonic, or at least you'll see a dabba full of medicines which is used for, daily basis people take for diabetes, cholesterol, BP, or whatever. So if you see all these things, what I'm talking about, if you open the dressing room, the dressing table, you will see cosmetics, you will see a lot of things, like lipstick and that and this, and and not only that, on top of that, they go to parlors. So if you see all these things, there is a certain amount of retail estate, right? What is a retail estate? Just like real estate is like a car. When you buy a house, you realize it costs money. But retail estate is like a petrol. You don't realize. It's like oil, it's like coolant. You don't realize how much you spend on it. And if you really do a budgeting and sit and write down really what you're doing, you'll be amazed what amount of money we are all spending on all these small things on a monthly basis. And the worst part is retail estate you can own. Real estate you can own. But can you own the retail estate? What do you have to do to own the retail estate? You need to run the retail shop yourself, which is impossible for us. So when I did a small calculation, I just saw that in India, the total population today is, in Bangalore itself, is 12.5 million. Okay? So 12.5 million people, let's say they use products for 1,000 rupees. I'm sure you made uses for more than that. Okay, let's say 10 PV, okay, 1,000 people, 12.5 million people, the total turnover comes to 1,250 crores per month. Can you believe that? So who owns this retail estate? Let's take India level. In India, right now, there are like 142 crores population, right? And I'm assuming that, let's say, 30-40 crores don't have bath, don't wash clothes, nothing. Okay, let's say only 100 crores use some product. And let's say they also spend only 500 rupees, 5 PV, okay? And still it comes to 50,000 crores a month. So now tell me, who owns all this? If you go on Google, the top retailers in India, you'll see number 1, Reliance Retail, Reliance Fresh, Reliance Footprints, Reliance Trends, 500 plus shops all over the country. And the next one we'll see is Tata Retail, right? You will see Chroma, and you'll know about Star Bazaar, Hypermarket, Star Market, and you will see so many shops doing the same thing with different names, owned by the same guy. And there's no way you can make out, really. The same area is running so many shops. And you'll see that, the third would be Raymond's, and most of us don't even know. I didn't even know Raymond's is into FMCG, and they own Park Avenue brand, and they're doing so much business. Fourth is Kurlon. Fifth is Aditya Birla. You've seen more outlets. So all these people coincidentally happen to be the most wealthiest people in India. So can you see isn't it revealing to you that the most wealthiest people in India are also the ones who are owning the maximum stake in the retail estate of all our households, right? So if you see that, it's pretty obvious that there's a huge market they're tapping into. And if you see today, the 10% of our GDP of our country is retail business. Isn't that huge? 10% of our GDP is retail economy, and it's growing at, can you name which is the country which has the fastest growing retail market in the world? It's India. Can you believe that? And BCG, the Boston Consulting Group, have done a research, and they said the speed at which China is growing in retail market, they'll be the third largest consumer economy in the world. That's why Walmart is trying to see, Walmart is unbelievable. How many of you have read this book, Household Gold? Right? You would have seen that, Walton family, Sam Walton, if you see, he just shared his wealth to 4 people, 3 of his children, 1 wife. And all 4 of them are the 4th richest people in the world. Right? And if you see, the total wealth is like twice of Bill Gates. And everything talking about IT, but here somebody is making more money in retail estate. And what he does is, he has captured every nook and corner of the world. Even in India right now, in 8 states, they're operating right now. Okay? Gap is like trying to get in, JCPenney is getting to get in. So if you see really the amount of wealth that's running in our country, and the amount of population growth happening. See, if you ask somebody which is the fastest growing market in retail, it's synonymous to asking which is the maximum fastest growing population. And there's no doubt about what's happening in India right now, right? And so basically, so this is very revealing, and the beauty is most people, even very, very successful people who own multiple bungalows can't own the retail estates because it's not in their possibility. They cannot open a shop like Reliance Fresh or something like that. So what happens is today, if you really see this picture, some construction worker built the walls of this auditorium. Yes or no? So how many times he got paid? He got paid for the work he did as a labor charge for that day. The person who paid the labor charge, who owns this auditorium, how many times he makes money? Every time he rents it out, right? Today he made money, tomorrow he lent it to somebody else, right? So that's how basically somebody is creating asset out of somebody else's effort, right? Because they have the wealth to be able to do that, okay? So same thing is happening in our jobs. Everybody goes to office, writes a software code. You get paid for the timesheet you filled for that day. But the company, every time the software runs in any device, who makes money? The company makes money. So it's an asset or not? So you're spending your time building asset for somebody, and whatever salary you're getting as compensation, what do? Go to a next retail store and give it as a rental income. See, have you noticed what happens? Like most of us, when we write our provision list, right, we don't want to keep writing it every month. What do we tell them? Hey, give the same thing, whatever we ordered last month. Or he says, I don't remember. You will keep the same list carefully and keep reading it. Yes or no? If you go to, for example, Big Basket, right? I mean, there is a way to store your previous order. Have you noticed that? So what do you say? Ditto. Same thing next month. Yes or no? Because we don't want to waste our time. And what are we doing here? Every single month, it's not a new thing you're shopping like your dress or something like that, right? It's like same Ariel, Colgate. And it's like the same thing, ditto. What happens is every month you're paying, just like if you don't own your retail real estate, you will pay rent every month. Same way, when you don't own your retail estate, you will pay rent for your retail estate every month. And who owns your retail estate? These retailers, these big companies. See, just think about this. Let's say you're working in TCS, you're putting your time and building asset for Tatas. They're giving you a salary, you walk into a star market, and again you pay rent there for your retail estate. So Tata is giving left hand money, right hand is taking it back, right? So end of the day, where is your asset? I mean, you spent 30 years, 40 years working, and you're a proud software engineer, but you made nothing, right? So that is what, is happening today in the real market. When you see a network marketing business, when I got into this business, I had an option to own my retail estate first. The first thing I could do is get into the business, get online, and start buying from my store. When I open the store, whose name comes? My name comes. My virtual office. When you open, what comes? Your name comes, right? So what happens when you order? The retail margin, which is supposed to go to the company, the retail shop, it comes to you as cashback or not? It also comes as discount? Yes or no? Right? So that is what basically is called owning. So what I did is every single month I did the same ditto which I used to do for somebody else to my own business. So as a byproduct, what happened? I could own my retail estate and start making from my own retail estate. And by doing that, what happened was, you see, there is a consistent flow, and I get paid, and even apart from the retail margin, which otherwise goes to retail shop, the middle money also, which goes to the people behind him, the wholesaler, distributor, marketing, all that money also comes back to us end of the month based on our total business, right? And some part of it goes to someone who's helping you set up the business. Is there anything wrong with this picture you see? Isn't it awesome to do this?
I'm Priya. I'll just mention a few ways in which we could increase our investment on our retail estate, because when we got introduced to this venture, once we understood the concept, we really were smart to understand the importance of diverting our funds, which was going to the outside market, which was building somebody else's asset into somebody else's retail estate. We could start diverting lot of those funds into our retail estate. So some habit changes that we could make, which helped us do that, was I'll just throw some examples in front of you so you can reflect on your spending habits and see how many of it is relevant for you. See how many of us eat out frequently. And in fact, nowadays, we sometimes come back late from work, or we are out somewhere, and eating out, has become very common. And a lot of times it's out of no other choice because food is not there at home. And nowadays with Swiggy and Zomato, and people are just ordering food home, and it's a very convenient option. So if I just look at how much of my money going to Swiggy and Zomato, and then diverting those funds to the meal replacement options that we have. We have body key shakes, we have protein shakes. So can I save my money and my health by doing that? And then I was just filing my tax last week, and then I was checking the expenses in each category, and I was just shocked, surprised that our medical expense for the entire last year for our entire family was 0. All that has got diverted into my investment on nutritional supplements. It has helped us stay healthy and just avoid going to the, investing on medicines. And in my house, my kids don't get bakery stuff. It's 0 junk. And all that money is diverted into complete nutritional, supplements package for them. It is not pick and choose, okay, one energy drink and one multivitamin. If you really divert those funds, instead of one dairy milk, one kurkure, and one something every day, if we can be strict about the habits we develop at home and it gets diverted, I can invest on the complete kids range for my children, which will add more value. And I just went for a haircut a couple of days back, and I saw another girl, getting some services done. And this girl was, probably 1 or 2 years in the industry, and very not a very simple job, and very simple girl. And she got some hair spa and facial and a lot of packages and all that. And then finally, guess how much bill she paid? 19,550. And she didn't blink an eyelid. I could hear oohs and ahs from guys. Girls know how much is being spent. So if I can divert those funds into expensive facials and hair spas and all those hair serums that people buy, and so many things that people invest on skin and anti-aging and hair products, if I can divert all those funds to how I can develop a regime for myself, which just doesn't restrict to the basic skincare, just a cleanser toner, cleanser toner moisturizer regime. If I can upgrade my regime and make it complete, a complete customized package, like how I would recommend a client who wants results, I do a consultation for myself and I use a complete regime. I am on 100%, what all would help me. If I could divert those funds, it's a lot of money that's going into my retail estate. And most of us want to reduce fat, weight loss, fat loss. If I can educate myself on how to follow holistic means and use my nutritional supplements towards that end, and not look around everywhere and, put my money on diet things, this thing, baked and non-fat, all those, things, if we become more aware and divert those friends, that's again a lot of investment going into my retail estate. So if you really see, there is humongous, the possibility of diverting our friends to our own retail estate is humongous. One tip I will give you, just do your monthly budgeting and track every rupee you spend. Okay? So if you can really see, the next 3 months, you track all those expenses that you have not tracked so far and really see the numbers. I am sure you will find umpteen number of possibilities to divert a lot of funds that are going here and there into our own retail estate, and then talk about the communities and networks we are part of. Being in India, we can have our extended family, invest on our retail estate because they get discounts and it is better quality and they can do that. And if I can create a beautiful story for myself in every product category by using properly, where the rubber meets the road, it's about being very regular and consistent with my product usage. If my protein 1 kg is coming for 6 months, then I have to fix that first. That is going to be the first circle has to work properly first. So if I can fix my product, there are so many apps, install something on the phone and then track the product usage every day that you have decided to use. And once I fix my product use and then I expand my retail estate so that my extended family's investment goes into it, and my stories that I create, if I start sharing and create some more households I enter and tap those retail estates, you just can't, it'll be unbelievable the kind of personal turnover that can happen and the way our retail estate can expand.
So if you see, when I was knowing about this phone Xiaomi, right? Redmi, MI, right? So that time it was not launched in India. So I took Sharat's help and I imported it from China, right? It costed me 35,000, okay, this phone. And it got launched for 13,000 India the next 2 months, okay? But since I bought this phone, I was using it and I created my own story of that phone because obviously, I used it and I have a conviction on it. And anybody who asked me, how is it? I gave the review that I really felt. If you're sitting in Uber and somebody drives very well, would you give him a bad rating? You don't feel like, So that's what happened, and 50 plus people bought MI phone, right? And how much I made? Nothing. Tremendous unpaid economy, right? So now, near my house, there's a nice school, Montessori school. My kid was really, I could see a lot of value being added to her. And, I had talked, whoever asked me about it, and you won't believe, there are 8 to 10 children who have gone and joined there. How much they pay every year? 80,000 to a lakh. How many years? 5 years. How many of them? 10 of them. It's unbelievable. But if I didn't have an experience of a story of my child being there, do you think I'll be able to do that? So if the school management said, you find 8 kids, I'll give you free schooling for your kid. And I'm going out and trying to make people understand. Do you think it would have worked? Why? Because I don't have my story, right? So a lot of people are waiting for their soap to get over before they use these products, I mean, imagine that you're being pound silly and penny wise, right? Because you're starting a business and your conviction and what you're going to do and how people are going to understand the business that you do and what kind of MNG you're going to do, everything is based on the conviction that you carry and the story you have about your products. But by saving some 40 rupees, 50 rupees, right, waiting for that to get over, you're losing lakhs and crores and losing belief in a business that you're supposed to. Your body language is different when you talk that way, right? So basically what happened to me was, right, if I can do this for so many people out there effortlessly because I have a story, why can't I create a story for myself with my retail estate? The first thing I decided is I'm going to own my retail estate. And when I started using it, what happened? My parents asked something, they started buying something. And then, my sister saw them and she bought something. And she went to her college where she works as a professor and somebody else saw her and they bought something, right? And Priya's parents started buying something and seeing her brother started buying. These are all real stories, okay? I'm not telling some story just like that. And her brother saw and her aunt started buying. And this is how 15, 20 clients happen. It's not that I really learnt about the history of MI and what is there inside it and I gave a technical talk, right? It's not that I know about Montessori education, I went for 6 months course, nothing like that. I had a story to tell and there was a glint in my eye and I was fired up and I just had to tell, that's it, period, right? And that's how you see, you can find few clients and doing 300 points a month becomes a piece of cake. And if you build a team of even 40 people, you are like, qualifying every month, making more than most people make in the Zoom in their jobs. Right? And that's something, it's very, very important that we understand what is the power of you owning your retail estate, creating your story, and doing that in a way in which you can own some stake in a lot of other people's retail estate. But you cannot really make money in a big way by just retailing, right? You have to learn how to build a organization, how to build a network so that you can multiply. By doing retailing, you're only adding. To multiply, you have to learn the skills of building a network, and that is something, is going to multiply and exponentially grow your business. If you see, all these people are making money by what? Actually, where the money is coming from? The retail estate of many people. How big the retail estate of yours is, how many people's retail estate you're able to tap into, that's the size of income you make in the business. Right? See, if you see, I have somebody in my team, his parents are in Bihar, and his maid saw him buy something, and she bought, somebody in the neighborhood wanted to, solve a knee pain problem, looking at that, getting results, isn't it how your entire business is coming, actually speaking? Do I really know where my money is coming from every single month, where the turnover is happening? That's exactly how it happens for Tatas. Yes or no? They don't know who you are and who bought from their shop. But the point is, they have to spend a lot of money to create a possibility for them. Every Tata shop has 200 employees. Can you imagine the cost of real estate in a prime property in a prime area, and to have electricity and all this merchandising and all the things that can go wrong, management, losses. If you look at all this, we are able to earn just think about this. We keep building a team. It goes to not only in your city of Bangalore, you can move to any state. It can move outside India as well. There are people in this room where somebody manufactured a product in America and somebody used a product in America. These guys ordered it, they delivered it. But sitting in India, you make money in dollars. Is this possibility can happen in your life if not for network distribution business? Is it possible? It's amazing, right? I mean, I hope you give a big round of applause for this because it's unbelievable, right? So many of us make some US dollars every single month because somebody ordered something and somebody manufactured something and we are not even involved, you know. We didn't even know who they were. Sitting in America, I have no idea who, I've never been there, okay? So this is the beauty of what we can do if you can just put some thought into this and make it happen. So we will come back to the next session.
While the techniques and approaches suggested may have worked for others, no one can guarantee that they will work for you. We hope, however, that the ideas presented here will assist you in developing a strong and profitable business. These materials have been produced independently of the Amway Corporation. Purchase of this material is optional and subject to the refund policy described in your purchase agreement for business support material. Purchase of future business tool can be discontinued at any time.